So let me introduce to you our guests as we talk about abuse here on the G-Spot in no particular order. I prefer to start from my extreme left, and we have the man who has championed gospel music, contemporary gospel music for that matter, for quite a while now, and he's won awards both here and all the way in Nigeria as well. He started a church, and he says it's called Flow River or River Flow. Which one? Flow River. Flow River Church, and his name is Kwesi Oting. He's answered a lot of questions when it comes to politics about the MPP and all that. Today we are in for a different ball game. And also next to him is Ghana's Most Beautiful 2018, a rep from the Central Region, and she's called Tetewa. Or is what? Tewa. I said Tiwa, she said Tewa, and she represented the Central Region. And the man next to her needs no introduction as well. He's a known brand when it comes to television, commercials, movies. He's yet to do a song though, but he is the managing director of Pulse TV, and all the good things that you see on social media. Pulse, carries out a lot of content, mostly on social media, and this is the man who is the brain behind Pulse TV Ghana, or the MD for Pulse TV Ghana. And next to him is another gospel musician, and she's female, of course. She is called Kesewa Kesi, and she's the CEO of Classy Kes Park, or she says it's a different one from all the others, but she also is into gospel music, and definitely we'll get to have a balanced conversation here on the G-Spot. There's a difference and a twist in our format today. Normally you have the men come first, the women, and then we have the battle of the sexes. But let's start with the battle of the sexes, and it's because this is quite a serious one. And they say ladies first. I don't know if the ladies will take it first, but we've heard a lot of women cry that they've been abused. And for a lot of people, they think that it is because the men are shy to cry that they've been abused. Have you been abused before?
I would say yes.
Verbally, physically?
Emotional.
Oh, I see.
And that one happens to every human being. That is why I said yes.
So that's because somebody used words on you that you didn't like, or?
Wasn't words I didn't like, but it's like in every relationship, we do have what we call broken heart. And it does happen to everybody.
So yours is a matter of broken hearts.
You get it.
So that's how you felt emotionally abused. I was going to ask if you also abused the person emotionally for them to have walked away.
No.
You don't think you did anything wrong?
I don't think I did anything wrong.
Fifi Coleman, the issue about abuse, the women always have the upper hand whenever the issue is talked about.
They do, and actually it's also being backed by the statistics about the reports and everything. So even though men are abused from what the studies that I have done into all these things, I've realized that even the percentage is a little negligible. Like it's like 0.09 or something of men are abused in relationship, and then the rest is like women being abused. So in that front, the thing with men are always like kicked to the back, like, oh, what do you cry, no, you know what I'm saying? So, but that's that. And then, like you said in your intro to, like for the guys coming out to say she's abusing me is very tough for the ego, because what happens is that in an area of abuse, ego trends a lot. And even if you're a man, that is twice for you. Now you've been abused, but then your ego and your sense of being a man is defeated when you go out to say, "Wa bome, wa yemi say, or mama yes say," like all those things. So you feel like you're bringing yourself down, twice. But yes, it does happen. Men do get abused, but it's just it's not very on the same.
Let's come to you. The thing also is, like you said, the men will not report it, but because maybe they feel like, okay, the ego issue is talking about. But is it enough to say that the women are on the higher side? Is it not because maybe the men will not talk about it? That's why we think that women are the only ones who get abused, especially now that she's also introduced emotional abuse.
Okay, I think from the perspective he's coming from, I think that is because usually we refer to the women as weaker vessels, okay? So we feel that, the little thing that is being done to a woman, that goes to, let's say, a little extreme, we call it abuse, okay?
But you don't think it's abuse?
We equally have women who can stand and say that I cannot be abused, okay? That means that you have this tough mental attitude. You want to tell yourself that nobody can abuse me.
Even when you're physically abused? Even when you're molested if it's rape and all that, you
Okay, with that, with the physical abuse, yes, that one you cannot rule it out, okay. But when it comes to the emotional one, as she said, that
Everybody gets
exactly. I
and
can say
most
no.
often they say that the women are the victims.
Exactly.
Or are we the instigators rather? I saw you shake your head.
Yeah, I shook my head because I don't like the word victims. Like, it's been a thing, like in reading on abuse a lot, I think the word victim puts them also at a disadvantage in coming forward to talk about it. So I like the word survivors. Like, you know what, if it happened to you, you're a survivor. You know, the survival spirit of a woman is stronger than calling them a victim coming out of a situation.
Well, maybe that's the next thing that we'll talk about, how difficult it is for people to open up. But Kwesi, in the case of abuse, normally they're limited to, you know, physical abuse and blah blah blah. But also it's because, like they've said, the men always look like the tougher ones and all that. Let's talk about how difficult it is for men to stand the processes that takes them to abusing a woman. I think that's what sometimes people say, it is not enough to say that,
I think the nature of, like, the man nature is not a nature that cries for help. Okay? The male vibe does not, like, cry for help, but abuse in itself, I don't think it's a 90 to 1%, like the ladies are more abused than the men. It's behavior. It's any form of art to manipulate somebody.
if you say any form of art to manipulate somebody,
any style one has,
it doesn't have
that
to be
controls
physical.
the other. Yes. It doesn't have to be blows. It doesn't have to be any attitude. It can be silence. It can be something, but it puts the person under control so that the person will make decisions he would not make in his right mind.
Also, being manipulated or manipulative, I think people even think that is a style, even for leadership. So that one, maybe people can say...
Yes, but it's abuse. Abuse
then
is
all
like
of
drugs.
us are
It's like
abusers in
drugs.
some
Yes,
way
of
or
course.
the other.
It's like drugs. It's like
It
like
happens to
paracetamol.
everybody.
Paracetamol is
Emotional.
supposed to solve. Sorry, please. Paracetamol is supposed to solve a problem, but you overtake it. All right. In the situation we have right now, a lady might have an argument with a guy, and the guy may use some words. It's once. All right. If it happens, maybe something happened in the house domestically, and there was an argument, and they started insulting each other. Do you understand? It once, and it happened. If the person goes to say somewhere and says that the person is abused, it's a lie. Abuse is when that thing, it's a daily affair.
I know people who won't take that.
No, I wouldn't take that either. I won't take it. Can look, be it once, be it half. Like there's nothing like oh, I did it once, I yelled at her once, or like, oh, I just tapped her once. So you know, you can. So far as see, you're talking about abuse, but one thing we need to know about abuse is that abuse is when it is misused for bad. You understand what I'm saying? It can't be, manipulation is not abuse.
I don't think there's a relationship that has not gone through
Abuse.
Let me not use abuse.
Okay.
Like arguments or
Yes.
having different sides to an issue.
But there's a difference
But-
between
but there's
arguments and there's a difference when you say abuse. You can have arguments,
Arguments are
without
not
using
that-
abusive
yes,
words.
abusive words.
without
Oh,
commenting
somebody
the
can
person's
say that.
emotions.
Somebody can say that. I mean, what you're saying is stupid.
Well, that's where it starts.
Yes,
It depends on
some-
how the
some-
person also understands stupid. Because
Yes.
for somebody, stupid will be, you know,
Yeah,
It's
you're
silly.
silly.
then it's an insult, and becomes an abuse. Becomes an abuse because not everybody is able to stand up to it. Very young, I learned that when somebody takes a style of attitude towards you, it happens in the workplace, and people like to assume boss. They are not the boss, but they know they have the character of like being edgy on everybody. Such people, stand them down immediately when they cross the line on your turf. Do you see? Now, not everybody is able to rise to the situation like that. Then the person
in that
falls
case,
under that manipulation.
so in that case, that's abuse.
Yes, the person is being, the person
somebody is exacting, you know, I don't know if
in an abusive way.
Yes. It can be abuse.
But I think there's a, well,
It can be abuse that will tell, the end result of it will tell whether the thing, that thing is happening around the person is abuse or not. It's like saying something verbally to your opponent or a different person. Whether being an insult or a harsh way, whatever it is, what's the intention of saying it to the person? The end means that will tell us whether the thing you are saying to the other part is an abuse or not.
The intention will not be clear until the person responds. But my problem is, let's not limit the conversation to verbal abuse, because it goes beyond that, and maybe that's the starting point. And a lot of people talk, because I won't go to report at DOFSU that, oh, my partner verbally abused me. They might even rubbish it, but maybe that's the starting point. But the major thing is when a man cannot take the abuse anymore and begins to throw his hands and would have reason to justify and say, she abused me emotionally, which society thinks is not of any use.
That is out of order.
I don't know if you men also find it I see sometimes we hear these abuse stories and I'm like, okay, how come we never consider what happened before the abuse, but the abuse is just the thing?
Yes, because there is no excuse for abuse. That's the point. Because you can never give a reason. There's never a point where you say, she hit me first and I hit her back. No. He pulled the gun first and I pulled the gun back. No. It's in a court of law, in anywhere that abuse is discussed, there can't be a quid pro quo thing like, oh yeah, it doesn't hold like that. The point is that one of you at any given time in the abuse walks away. One of any given point in time says that, so you become the victim. At that point, you are the one that something has been done to. Because if you do it and I do it, we're fighting over this thing. And I come to say, well, look, I have that. I have that. Both of you have now become cases that we have to treat in a situation of a domestic abuse situation. It's not a quick protocol. Why? That's the point.
So how come it's difficult for men, you know, like he started saying, you throw words, I throw words back at you, but men can't contain the words and then they begin to move their hands.
Because the ego he's talking about.
Yes, I think
so. Don't start the insult, walk away then.
You know, there are situations, somebody can take the key and throw it away, and it's just you and the person in the room. Yes, the person wants you to
so
hear.
Close your ears.
No, listen, but there's never an excuse for a guy to hate a woman. Me, it's even cool when a lady hits you. Do you see?
Oh, I see.
Oh, yes, it's even cool.
It's cool when a lady hits
you. If a lady hits you, you try and hold her and hug her or something. Try to stop the beating.
Women, they are here. Women know how to say the meanest things ever. Look, I know exactly. Let's say you. What can I say to you? No, let's take it because he sings, right?
Yes, sir.
And everyone knows he sings. He's won awards.
Yeah.
A woman will pick the greatest thing that he can do to use against him.
Yeah.
To say,
he has been with you. He knows your.
He knows so. Women know exactly the things that pushes your butt, and because they are hurt, you did something that day. So in better to hurt you back, they know the right things to say, and it takes a man and the grace of God to say, look, I know you are hurt. You are talking to me from a place of pain. That is why you're saying all these mean things to me. I will say to you, you are being mean. But you're coming from a place of pain. So I understand, because this is not you. This is not the woman that I know.
The heart to
it is psychological disorder. It's actually a mental state to hate a woman. It's not anger. It's not like words. The person is illness.
Let's talk to the women briefly. Then we'll come and talk about how people think that it is a societal disorder because a lot of attention has been given the women over the years, and so we haven't raised our children, especially the boy child, well, and so he thinks that I am the man in charge. Subdue. Of course, the Bible also says that subdue and women respect, submit, and all that. So there's a kind of psychological maybe disorder, like you say. So the men always want to stand up to say, hey, I'm the man of the house, I am the man in the relationship. They've said that it's okay for you to abuse them. You think it's okay?
It's not.
no,
It's
no,
not.
no.
We don't call it an abuse. We've not said that it's an
What do you
abuse.
say? It's a lap slap.
It's cool.
It's a lap slap.
We say it's cool.
It is not okay in any situation.
It's not okay,
You
but
see, it's
We don't call it an
really
abuse.
wrong to abuse somebody.
No, but I think sometimes the women also want to try use their hand and see if
but
or
it
their
usually
women
doesn't
have
work.
like
It usually doesn't end well.
Because that seldom happens.
that's
That
really
that you see a
you
woman
said in your
raising-
intro that there are women who feel like you cannot abuse me. How did they do? How did they defend
it's
themselves?
the mind. It's the mind. Okay, using myself as an example. I remember I was going out and then I realized that this guy wanted to abuse me actually, as in to walk out of the relationship just to make me like feel like I cannot, because he knows I love him. Okay, and so walking out of the relationship will make me will abuse me. Okay. And
No,
so
but,
I told,
but do you agree that that's abuse? I don't think that that's
No,
abuse.
that's abuse.
If somebody is done with you, they want to walk out of the relationship. How do they abuse you? She said that initially
when
as
it's
well.
not done right, okay, if you want to go,
Is
fine.
there's an order to exit a
Oh, that,
relationship.
somebody
Of
somebody can
course.
abuse you and
Of course.
exit a relationship.
No, she's not talking about physical abuse. She's not talking about verbal abuse. They're just saying that somebody decided to jilt them.
From the beginning, she said
that.
we all
And
have.
you also said
we,
that.
we all have a kind of abuse. We've all experienced some kind of abuse.
So you think
or
that
the other.
jilting you is a form of abuse?
I think
Of
deception
course.
is an abuse.
Deception
Of course,
is
so
an
I
abuse.
will
Yes.
psych, I
Then
will
very
psych
soon
my
everything
mind
will
and
be
say
abuse.
that
Yes.
I will not allow you to abuse me. So I will have that mentality that no, I cannot allow you to do that.
Let
to
me just ask you a simple question.
Okay.
Have you also jilted someone?
No.
Oh,
not
all
at
the guys
If I
that-
want to work out, let me do it well.
Okay, so it's per your terms then, that you have a term that you go in agreement with people and say, look, I'm done with you and I'm walking out. So you don't think that you've abused
I don't
the
think
fellow?
society
If that's
accepts the
abuse,
fact that if you want to work out of a relationship, you should do it in an abuse form.
what do you define in an abuse? I'm trying to understand where you're coming from. What do you define in an abuse form?
Okay, so let's say I'm going out with him, okay, and then probably I've done something like against him, and then he wants to also like react, okay, and so he knows that my heart is in this relationship, okay, I've gone all out, I'm committed, and so in order to hurt me, probably there's nothing that you can do against me that will make me feel so bad or abused, so you just want to walk out. You get it?
Fifi, Kwesi, you are the guys here. I don't understand, but do you think that's
They
abuse?
do understand. They
Oh,
understand,
okay.
they understand what
Okay.
I'm talking
I don't.
about.
I'm sorry. Unfortunately, I don't. I just said if the relationship is over and it's time for us to go out both ways, I don't see how I have abused. The thing is, if you look at a relationship as if you committed more than the guy committed to the relationship, or well, I loved him more than he loved me, and so when he's leaving me, then I feel like I've invested too much into a relationship and now he's leaving, and you want to consider that as abuse, I really don't see how that qualifies as an abuse in the conversation that we are having around abuse. Like, I also think, like, going back to what we watched, the whatever that we've seen on whatever they played and everything, social media and all those things, right? Trust me, you can't really report this to docs. You can't go anywhere and say, we've been in a relationship for 3 years now, he wants to go and he's leaving, I'm abused.
course,
It would not be accepted in any form or shape. So, yes, you might feel that emotional. I don't want to use the word abuse. I think abuse is being thrown about like very loosely. Depressed. I'm feeling a kind of feeling that he left me without saying it hurts and all that, but not that he has abused me by deciding that I don't want this relationship anymore.
I think maybe that's what the conversation sometimes, like you said, has been reduced to. And some people can say, oh, he abused me and he told me that he will marry me and he abused me and he walked away. Then it brings me back to the case that I made reference to.
But I think,
where,
I think that maybe sometimes when they say that, they're trying to say something that happened during the relationship.
were you physically abused?
No.
Oh, then
the
person just
her own
wanted
is
to
that
go.
I think that she still loves the guy. The guy just.
You know when the
Yes,
person
then.
to go.
I think we shouldn't limit the abuse topic we are having here only to the emotional that started. We brought it from the beginning, or we shouldn't limit it to relationship. Relationship
Of course,
can
office
be marriage,
there's
can be
harassment in the office as
It's
well.
so many ways.
And mostly it has to do with women. And I'll come back to you because you're a beauty queen. So most often you're the ones who are being tagged with these
know,
abuses
right.
and all that, But so also there's an issue of rape.
Right.
which has become rife for those who have followed stories, or even across our borders. You see that now, and I'll come to you on that. The way you relax. Now the church is also being brought into the conversation and all that. So I don't know if you think that the speaking up culture is getting better, where people are naming and shaming people, where people are, you know, able to talk about their pain.
I don't think, sometimes it's important to mention or name out your pain, your feelings, what you're going through.
And call out the person who tried to abuse you or who abused you?
Yes, it's sometimes good for you to call out for the person to change from that attitude of abusement.
You think that you're calling them out changes anything?
It does, because there will be sometimes counseling between both of you that will help the other opponent to change from that attitude. Are you getting my point?
Is an issue of change, or is an issue of let's punish the person? If the person, for instance, we've had issues of, you know, harassment, people have raped people, and they come out after years. They come and say, oh, this person raped me, and people are crying for justice for them. The two things that comes to mind for a lot of people: you didn't speak out then. They'll say she didn't find the voice then. Do you agree, or do you endorse speaking up later, or keeping quiet and enjoying the pain, and forgetting that society would want to find means of digging into your issue? Like I'm saying, why didn't you speak up last time, or the years that you were raped and all blah blah blah? Which one would you go for? Would you prefer that people keep quiet and endure their pain and maybe protect their space?
No, I think that you should report immediately, because pain kills, okay? Pain, I'm a midwife, and I know sometimes we all have our thresholds, okay? And so if you should know yourself, if you think that you cannot contain the pain at that time, it's better for you to report. And what is the voice we are talking about? Now we have police stations, okay? I think that for some time now, they take some issues very trivial. Meanwhile, the victim is really going through, serious pain or serious trauma, depression that we have to attend to. But then we just leave it like that. And then later you realize that it's eating the person up. And trust me, they're the very people we see in the psychiatric hospitals. Their life becomes miserable. And these are the very things we should give attention to. The ones that we feel is negligible. Exactly.
Just immediately. But there are people who do not find their voice just immediately.
Let me pick up for a couple of things from what both of them have said before I take my leave of you. First of all, you said there are police stations, so I'm going to tell you a very, very interesting subject. We are still here in Ghana, in Medina, where a man beat up his wife to death. And I know for a fact now that the family is begging the police to arrest the man. See, if you're in a society where you have to beg the police to arrest somebody who has beaten up his wife to death, then the idea of telling me that there's a place to go to report it, we have to really look at it again. I know Dofsy is doing a lot, and so there are some of the reports are going early and working on picking up on you. Here's why you have to say it. It's not even for you when you speak about this. It's not for you. It's for the next person. Because many a time, by the time you are speaking up, the relationship is over. By the time you are saying this happened to me, it's over. You just saved the next woman. You just saved the next girl that this very humble-looking guy, Lam, is going to go and say, listen, I'm begging you, you're the love of my life. And it takes like, what? 2 months into the relationship, and you start suffering what she suffered. So speaking up, it's not even just for you; it's for the next person. And for somebody else, somebody who thinks that guy can never do that. It's for that person.
And that's society. That's what society will say.
Yes.
But this guy doesn't look like he can do that.
That's the point.
And then they come to say, how come you're speaking up now? And how come you're not concerned about the reputation of your family? Blah blah blah.
Let me tell you, family. So this is where I'm coming from, which is my main thing with family. It's not really about family. It's about what I call generational abuse, right? Who is the first person any woman would want to go to when they're being abused? Their mother. Their family, right? Now, if my mother was abused, right? And she never said anything through her abuse, and I go to her and tell her that my husband just slapped me, what is her best advice to me?
That's nothing. In my house.
If my mother's mother was abused, So when she was being abused, she used to go to her mother. Her mother would say, "Oh, what are you talking about? So go back to the house." She goes back to the house. So it's a generational thing now. So society, in some places, now education is going to help. In some places, abuse has been accepted over generations to a point where it's not even about the effect of it. It's about, we are the abuse. Listen, don't put a situation out there. I was the man who did that. So our society is helping by now giving us channels and ways to speak out. That same society needs to be educated to dissuade them from the ideas of the past that because it's happened over and over again, it's now acceptable. Quick one. When does a practice become a thing that everybody accepts? When I do it and she does it, it becomes acceptable. It takes two people to repeat something for everybody to say it's acceptable. So if I beat her, and somebody else beats her, oh, beating is acceptable in our house.
Yes.
And very finally, you picked about the children, that, society and the children over this. If my son is in the house, and my son keeps watching me, Mom, sit down. Where's the food? Come here. Everything is authoritative. Everything is command. Sit down. Bring my socks. Everything. That love is not seen. He always see that from his father's point of view, for a guy to get anything is about ordering, commanding. And it happens.
Shouting.
And there's results. Here's a catch. He sees results. Yes. Bring my food. The food is there. Sit down. Mommy sits down. Don't go out. Mommy locks herself in a room. Mommy is crying. Mommy, why are you crying? Oh, it's nothing. Did daddy hit you? Oh, no, that's how daddy shows he loves me. That is how we in the society, in the family, our own nuclear unit, are also perpetuating the whole story of abuse.
And that comes to the issue that I talked about, that the boy child had been neglected all this while, and the concentration was on the girl child. And so, because of that, I know Fifi wants to go, so let's quickly talk about that, then he leaves. So I'll take your take first, and then I'll come back to him. Because of that, you grew up feeling like, you saw that do this, you saw that did that, and the woman's place was in the kitchen, and the woman's place was to just obey instructions from the man. So you also grew up feeling that you have some superpowers, and so you can use it. You show that in your office, you show that in your home, you show that everywhere, because that is what you were taught at home.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I mean, home is a place to learn how to become. But I mean, sometimes home cannot be an excuse to misbehave. I think people must rise to be able to self-educate themselves to know that, okay, if this was the situation for my parents, I can still have a better life.
But if that's all you're exposed to, how do you know that that's wrong?
But then the person will bear the consequences of such life that they choose. Maybe if they're using the example or the standard of the home for how they treat people, then they'll face the consequences for it. Because
but can there be an excuse in that case? Oh,
no, people use that excuse.
Let me give you an example.
Yes.
R. Kelly, when all this was happening, one of his family members said, oh, he was molested by an aunt whilst growing up.
You see, but you see, the R. Kelly situation and so many other type of relationship is also becoming like the norm. I think that aside also speaking up, society must also understand that why is the person speaking up like now, aside the fact that it may be true. Do you understand? They are like the R. Kelly one. I saw some video of a particular one. They asked the lady how long he has known the guy. Somebody had to say it from the back for the lady to hear. And it's like society see the videos, but they close their eye to the clear evidence that somebody is taking an action against someone. All right. I'm not here to defend anybody, but point is that as great as it is to speak up, do you understand? We cannot begin to shift from guilty until proven innocent. All right. Recently, there was a guy who was going for what was it? Supreme Court for America, Judge Kavanaugh. A lady came to say amazing things about him, but the guy was still qualified. 3 weeks after, the lady came out that what she came to say was a lie.
Sometimes they say that these people have to come finally to say that they are lies because either they are paid off or the family decides that, okay, let's handle it by ourselves and all that.
It's okay.
For instance, what is happening in Nigeria with the church and Timi Dakolo's wife, Koza and all that,
Yes.
people have, said, thou shall not touch my anointed.
I don't think it's a situation of thou shall not touch my anointed. I think it's a situation of personally, I'm observing from, I don't know the details. I cannot know the details. Do you understand? I cannot know the details. You see, but from me watching, I cannot sit where I'm sitting and hate somebody because of what somebody is saying.
Then that's the problem then.
Because I wish, no, it's not a problem. I think that if you sit, like she said something about reporting immediately. If for something that happened 20 years has not been reported over the years and suddenly becomes a point of action or a cause of action, the person goes, I think I'll look at it a little different. I'll look at it, because the person may be motivated by hate.
Well, that's why I said that sometimes, and I asked them whether they think that speaking up later, they say that sometimes people don't find their voice until later, and that's why they might not be speaking about it. I don't know who wants to respond to this. They say sometimes you don't find your voice until later years, when like you said, you feel like, oh, let me speak for the next person, and then you begin to speak. You don't think that that's valid as well?
I don't know. I think we live in a world where we should be able to be open to look at views, think like judges, all right? Like, think like a judge. Don't like think one-sided.
Okay.
Yes.
Fifi, quickly, the issue about the boy child. You think that, like people are saying, we've neglected the boy child for too long, and so the boy child, carries a certain perception about who a woman is.
We have, but it's not. I don't want to generalize it so that I give the boy child I can be who I am because A, B, C, D. Where they're going to say there are moments where this same boy child who has witnessed all these abuses, right, gets to a point where there's that whole light bulb moment in your head. You go to school as well. You did see that in the house. How well did it end in your family? How well has it been with you up to this point? The responsibility does not just land with the parents of the boy child. It's the schools, it's the churches that they go to, it's the Sunday school, it's all of these things, right? So even though the child has gone through all this and seen all these like atrocities being meted out to their mother and all those things, the other part, which is us, who are here, who seem to understand how these things come about, has this child to us our responsibility. The punishments do work. Like there has to be repercussions for actions. Like if I notice that fine, that did it, but somebody did the same thing. I read it and he's been in jail for 8 years or 10 years. The person is still in jail. They are doing that to the person. It is something like, okay, it's time to like hone it in and understand what I am going through. That same boy child has also got an advantage to see the therapist, the psychologist, somebody to talk to, somebody to make them understand that, Ms. G, I have the tendency to be very angry very quickly. As soon as she starts talking, I don't know, from 0 to 100, I'm angry. And I find myself holding myself back because I don't want to be the same person. There are also places for this person to go to talk to people, to say this, and there are people who will guide you through it.
Do you think the society thinks very trivial of these things? Like you're saying, we don't have counseling sessions, we don't have places that you can go and say, look, I want to undergo anger management.
Yes, and I'm telling you, it is not something even Ghanaian society. It's not African, it's not even American. Trust me, wherever it is, for a guy to say I'm going for counseling, for a guy to say I'm going to go sit down and say, okay, my name is Fifi and I used to beat my wife, and then start talking from that point. It's like it's very difficult. That has nothing to do with it. It's just the machoism of a guy, the whole thing about I'm a man. Like, why am I going to go tell somebody my issues and all that? So that's where it all starts from. But if we make counseling a very friendly thing, don't demonize. Counseling, yes, those are that thing, and then it becomes something that, okay, listen, if I have an issue, I talk to somebody. speaking about it is always the place to start from, to heal, to speak about it, to be able to open up and say,
who do you
did
speak
it.
to? That's the problem also.
No.
Is it your wife that you're now speaking to, that when I was young, I saw Dad do it, and so because Dad did it, I felt that is how to show
The point is, if you are able to identify yourself, that's why, then that means you're the one, you're guilty right away. If I can go to the woman I just beat her, don't listen, I beat you because I saw my father do it. No. That means you knew it was wrong even from that moment. It is when you still don't know why you keep doing what you're doing that you're able to find out. That is when it becomes, okay, fine. That is the reason why you are doing whatever you're doing. But if I can tell you that I am beating you because I saw my father do it, that means I know why I am. I already have a reason for my actions, and that is inexcusable. It is unaccepted in any front.
Welcome back from the break. We are shooting from the premises of Furniture City. Furniture City is located on the Sprinters Road, close to the Flower Pot Roundabout, just a minute drive from the Flower Pot Roundabout. If you're looking for classy furniture for your home and for your office, you need to come through Furniture City, where you can get that and many more. You can reach them on 0540-120-790 or 0540-314948 for more inquiries. Of course, if you want to beautify your home, look at our set. If you love our set, everything on the set was got from Furniture City. I want to say special, he says it's lovely, Chrissy says it's lovely, and I want to say special thanks to Briwadria for my outfit, and this fabric was also by Adoma Fabrics. Definitely you see those numbers on, hey, Charlie, Chrissy is giving a lot of hype, eh? Chrissy says the dress is cool, but it's from Briwadria. Briwadria designed this. The fabric is from Adoma Fabric. For all authentic GTP fabrics, you can reach out to Adoma Fabric. Her number is also on the screens. And shout out to the makeup persons on the set. Today we have two makeup people on the set, or two makeup artists on the set. And so She Bridal, you've seen her work on the set before. Her number is 055-8611-842. 055-8611-842. Also, Gion Aesthetics, her number is 0243-882318. 8823-18043. And we are continuing the conversation on abuse. Fifi Coleman has taken leave of us, but of course there's still more to explore when it comes to abuse, because we haven't even talked about how, the women begin to think that they can, at any least provocation, start a fight, but yet begin to be the ones crying foul at the end of the day. Also, we haven't touched on the fact that when men, find their voice to speak, society begins to ridicule them. And police station, I can report you about, and that kind of thing, I don't know. I start with you, Kwesi Otin. I'm sure that if your fellow man comes to tell you that, Charlie, my wife beats me, you look at him some way.
I know a friend. I mean, every time I would see scratches on him.
Wow.
Scratches on his face. Yes. And it was domestic issues going. Whether it was a fight, maybe he was beating the girl and the girl was fighting back like that. I don't know. But, I mean, it's like that. Like you're saying, I don't see a guy going to police station that they've beaten him. And I think that there may be situations like that where
we've had a few cases, but
guys.
the major thing is how people react when they hear things like that. That's what I was asking you. If you hear
I don't think it will change. The male nature is like strong. So when you become the one reporting, you understand that it's like, it's like that. But
so don't you think is the reason why women, because some women are...
It is, I think it's part of the reason why the statistics record a lot of ladies, and it looks as if ladies are the victims of abuse. But guys are being stabbed and cut, and things are being thrown on people. Ladies are doing that, but many guys won't go to a police station to report. Yes.
I've heard cases where they say women also, like for instance, harassment. Women will throw themselves on a man and blah, 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 have some good time with them. And when the relationship goes sour, the one begins to cry, oh, he raped me, he forced me, he did that. is it because, like she said in the beginning, we think that we are the weaker sex, and so when we take or go report an issue, it's looked at in that form?
I don't think it's because of that, but the main thing is ignorance.
On whose part?
Ignorance, both of them. But for you, the woman, to rise up and report, go tell people about that you are being abused and you are expressing your feeling, I think it could be a way that you just want your feelings to be known.
When after you've enjoyed yourself with this man?
Exactly, because you can't chew yourself on a man and then come back and say you've been abused. No, genuinely, you know what you're about to do.
It's happening.
Well, yeah, we've had situations like that, and unfortunately, I'm a woman, but unfortunately, sometimes the woman the man is not heard at all. Because, oh, have you had anything to... I don't know if you also buy into that. People would have relationships with people. Not necessarily defined relationship, but they are with them. And they have good time and all that. And when the man one day wakes up and say, oh, I never promised you a relationship, then, you know, everything goes haywire. And the woman begins to accuse him of maybe, you know, rape or harassment and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I think that is wrong on the part of the woman. For you to come out there to say that, I mean, you've been abused when you know very well that there was nothing like an abuse, okay? And so I think that as a woman, I mean, respect yourself, okay? Because definitely...
the person is battered, emotionally down, so...
that's why from the beginning, realize that I was talking about the fact that a man will walk away from a relationship in a way that will hurt the woman, and the woman will say that it's an abuse. I mean,
but is that enough reason to go lie that
is what I'm saying, that if you the woman knows that it's not abuse enough to come out there to talk about it, why then? Because most definitely we'll get to know the truth of the whole thing.
Is it not also because we know that we'll cut some sympathy, and once we get the sympathy...
Yes, of course. I mean, people, sympathy is powerful. You know, when it goes against somebody, like two people say, this one says that this person abused me, and sympathy goes, usually the person who says it first. That's why some people have an attitude of no response, which I don't support. I believe that whatever the situation, also have your voice going. Most of the time, someone so no response. The person is on social media. Recently there was a situation that was trending of one major personality in Ghana, of some text messages that some people released, and the person showed me the actual text from his phone. The one on social media was different.
Wow.
Yes, yeah. The one on social media was for public.
So there's a target. Yes.
Yes, it's doctored well, and I saw the original. The person, of course, they had something to do, but there was some money that didn't flow. Then the person immediately it's like football that they are playing and it's left with 1 minute. You touch the person like this, hey, I'm dead. Yeah, it's like that.
So with this, I believe with time, the truth will definitely come out.
But
the truth may never come out.
Exactly.
That is why society must also know, within social media days and the times we are in, that no matter the situation, be like a judge. Look at both sides. You can't say that I saw on social media somebody saying this, I heard somebody saying. Personally, I've seen articles written about me. Of course, I've done a lot of. I've entered some places that people have written articles. I read article. I read this. How could somebody?
I've also read articles about you.
Yes.
They used to say Kwesi Oti was a womanizer. I don't know. Have you seen those articles?
No, but anytime I heard that, I said that. Then how many young guys are here? I've been there, done that. I won't stand here and say that. Hey, no, I've been there, done that. I have 2 earrings on my ear, and growing up, do you understand? I've been there, and so of course, if anybody knows me. And the person, that's the person's imaging. I'm moving on. I'm moving on. Do you get it? And I'm a man, basic. The fact is true, I'm married. Do you see? And I'm like, I'm a man, basically. And not that it's like I'm hunting after women. Anybody who has says that it's quite amazing, but it's all right. People throw those words. Why that particular description? Why won't they say Shatawale is that? Why won't they say Stone? Why won't they say Sarkodie? Why the guy is a gospel person? When we say this one, it's against him, and so society say, oh, okay, good. It's now she said your space crowd gospel space. Do you see? That's how people are, you know. But personally, maybe because I've also self-developed, and so when I hear stuff about people, I'm still able to honor and respect them because I also leave room for the fact that the person is just being amazing. Perhaps the person writing that article, you should check. Maybe he's having threesome whilst writing that article. Yes, but we'll write an article that somebody is like this. It's like that. But it's okay. When I was growing up, I thought that greatness goes with praises until I got to a certain place in my life and I realized that, hey, it actually goes with insults.
You want to say something?
Yeah, what I wanted to say is from the point my sister raised, it's like if somebody is being abused and somebody is being accused and the matter has been processed to court, it is different from those we see in on social media. And so if it's about court case, there will be witnesses, there will be evidences that to embark your claim. So it's the court that will going to rule on that side. But when you come to the social media and the radio stations, what people are accusing about accusing of you, it's something that you don't need to respond to.
Really?
That's the situation.
The more you respond, you worsen the situation.
It's not true.
You give people the room to talk more about it.
It's not true. Look at somebody like Donald Trump, yeah? If Donald Trump did not have Twitter, Instagram, and the things he has, he would have been impeached by now. The power of response must always be there. Always respond. Me, I will tell you to respond. For something to be going on, for you to be like aloof, like it's okay. The crowd, they are going to read it and you will feel it.
Because you also need to remember that they say silence means consent. So once you're silent, it means that to some extent.
But time will tell the truth. Time will definitely expose the truth.
Time doesn't.
If only you know that
time
what
doesn't
you've been
expose
accused
truth like that.
It's not true.
The truth could be what you responded, and just leave it there. Have a clear-cut, officially well-designed response, and just leave it there.
So how are they going to accept?
Joel Austin once said.
Why are they going to accept what you are saying?
Joel Austin once said, if you try to defend your point or your case, you end up making more mistakes.
But isn't
I don't think
that we should. Isn't a case when you've been accused of abuse, rape, harassment? You know how we are pressed for time, but I've heard stories of how people go to look for jobs, especially women, and these days I hear the guys also are trying their luck, and then they say, I can give you everything you want, and they go with that in mind, hoping that when they seduce this man, he will give them the job.
Okay.
Can this man come and start crying that he was harassed? But sometimes when this man doesn't cry that he was harassed, when he doesn't give this lady the job, she can't say, oh, when I even went there, he tried
to do this.
So if he doesn't speak, in this case, if the man doesn't speak and say, this is what happened, blah, 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 and who will you believe? You will say, oh, the girl can say, she didn't say anything.
But it is never everything that is on social media are true, that you need to respond to.
I think,
the more you respond to it, the more you end up saying things or writing things that is not supposed to come out.
Yeah, but response, I don't think you should be, because if you keep talking, you might even shift your point. But I believe that having a response, do you get it? I mean, somebody can go to say that they were abused. Do you understand? But maybe the guy can say that, oh, he won't respond. But then the person is going to face the consequences of the abuse. Do you understand? Well, perhaps if the person had responded, maybe the police will see that, oh, maybe let's look at the situation well. Maybe perhaps the guy was even defending himself.
You see, that is why
That is
I
sometimes
said
when you
earlier
have strong
said that
evidences.
If
Yeah.
it's about
Have-
police case, the thing has been taken to court. It is different from you defending your
So
case
you
on
believe
social
that,
media.
okay, rather than
I'm-
defending yourself with the media.
I'm actually
or
talking
on
about social media.
No, she's saying that don't defend yourself on social media.
so
Wait
much.
till the
Don't
issue
give
goes-
attention so much.
I don't even see it as defense. Just get your voice going too. That's all.
That's how we would wrap the conversation
Yes.
on abuse and all the issues that come with it. Like Kwesi said, this might not necessarily stop abuse, but maybe it will enlighten some people as to how to go about things. But if you think that you have been abused, please report. No matter how long it will take, justice might be served. And we want to say a special thanks to Furniture City for hosting us here at their premises at their ultra-modern showroom on the Spinks's Road, close to the Flower Pot roundabout. And if you want furniture for your home, your office, and even churches, you need to come through Furniture City. They've got a wide range of furniture that can help you have a beautified church, home, office. Their number is 0540-120-790 or 050-314-948. Thanks to Briwedua for my outfit. Thanks to Aduma Fabrics for the fabric. And thanks to She Bridal for making up our guest. And her number is 055-8611-842. And Gion Aesthetics made me up. Her number is 0243-882318. That'll be it for this evening's edition of G Sport on Joy Prime. We're back again next week. But if you missed this episode, do well to go on our YouTube channel and you find it to share with your friends.